Welcome to this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. In the June 2021 Town Hall meeting, President Elserman encouraged faculty and staff to take a vacation and emphasized the importance of taking time off to rest and recharge. Today, we have a couple of our colleagues from Human Resources to help us review IvyTech's offering for time off, including the most recent updates to the vacation policy. So let's meet them. First up is Mike McNichols. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Kara. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. Could you tell us a little bit about you and what you do for the college?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually celebrating my 13-year anniversary for the college this month. Hard to believe, the time has flown by. I currently serve as the Vice President of Human Resources for the college.
Wonderful. It's great to have you on the show. And our other guest today is Sara Morris. Hi, Sara.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. Welcome to the show. Would you tell us a little bit about you?
I am celebrating my 6-month anniversary this
month. Congrats.
A little bit less time here than Mike. And I serve as the Assistant Vice President of Employee Benefits and Experience.
Excellent. Well, Sara, this was the first time you and I got to meet by Zoom, and I look forward to meeting you in person, but welcome to the college.
Thank you.
So let's jump right in and talk about the different leave policies we have. And let's start with our vacation policy, since that is the one that Sue talked about in the town hall. Can you give us a general overview of the policy and talk about its eligibility and importance and the recent updates?
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Kara. Thank you. So vacation time is one form of paid time off available to employees at the college. And vacation is specific to our full-time staff and administrative faculty. So those are the employee groups who are eligible for vacation time. And vacation time is a form of time off that employees accrue beginning at the onset of their full-time employment in those benefit eligible positions. And upon hire, an employee will accrue up to 17.4 days per year. And once they've been with the college for 2 or more years, that benefit actually increases to 24 days per year. Now, that, Kara, is where we actually are seeing a couple of changes. So let me start with that first in terms of the accrual rate. Now, for employees hired prior to July 5th, there is no change in terms of the rate of accrual. That's only specific to employees who were hired on or after July 5th of 2021. And the rate of accrual isn't changing upon hire. It's going to remain at 17.4 days per year for the first 2 years of employment. Where the change is going to occur is once that employee has hit that 2+ year mark. Rather than continue to accrue at the current rate or the rate of those hired prior to July 5th of 24 days a year, it's actually going to decrease to 20 days per year. Now, where current employees or all employees are going to see a bit of a change is in terms of the payout for vacation. So that's actually something that I don't think is always, widely understood, is that when an employee who is eligible for vacation does leave employment, whatever balance of vacation time they have remaining, those hours are paid out to them. Now, up until this past month in June, employees will be paid out for up to 320 hours of vacation. What's changing is the max payout is going to be reduced to 240 hours. Now, the good news is the max accrual up to 320 hours is not changing. So employees continue to accrue up to 320 hours, but the payout will be set to a maximum of 240 hours. Now, those employees who were in excess of 240 hours in June were provided with the opportunity to be paid out whatever hours were in excess of 240, which was great. So they didn't feel like they were losing those hours that they were expecting to be paid out upon the point in time when they would leave employment. And now going forward, anytime that time is accrued in excess of 240, those hours would be intended to be used by the employee. And if for a reason they're not used by the employee upon their separation of employment, whenever that may occur, only the maximum of 240 hours would be paid out.
Mike, you rattle off those numbers so well. I have a hard time just remembering, I know the 240, I've had that in my head pretty firmly for a long time. Why did we make these updates to the policy?
There's really 3 primary factors that led to these changes. One, the college is actively working to bend the curve on the college's increasing compensated absences liability. Second, the college is working to align the college's vacation accrual with other state higher education institutions. And thirdly, And this is what I really want, those who are listening to the podcast to hear, is that we want to develop a vacation time model that more effectively encourages staff to use their paid time off. When I say staff, again, that's inclusive of administrative faculty. But what I mean and how that's intended to work is that oftentimes when an employee does accrue, up to 320 hours, they oftentimes align the payout amount with that 320 hours. And they're thinking, gosh, there's something that would occur. Maybe I had to leave my employment unexpectedly. I have that 320 hours of vacation time and paid out. I understand that, right? Well, we're all human. It's not uncommon to maybe put a monetary amount to align with those number of vacation hours available. So now that the max payout is 240 hours, we're hoping that we kind of move past that mindset and that people won't be so locked into, I have to keep the absolute max number of vacation hours so I can receive the full payout, but they can accrue beyond 240. And then anything in excess of 240, they use it. They don't just try to stay at 320 hours, but they're more likely to use that. Now, keep in mind, there's never an expectation, nor would I ever advocate for anyone to try to get to that 240, without using vacation time, right? And we have a generous time off benefit. You accrue quickly, but we do want to encourage employees to utilize the vacation hours, as they are earned, use multiple days throughout the course of the year, find time to take off throughout the course of the year. You're still going to see that you're still going to accrue that balance, and it's going to continue to increase, month after month or year after year. But ultimately, we do believe that this new model will be more advantageous to employees taking that time off to recharge, rejuvenate, promote self-care, and come back and pick up on the responsibilities of their job.
Mike, I really want to echo and dive in for a second on sort of my changing philosophy in this. Having been at the college, I'll celebrate my 23rd anniversary with the college here in just a couple of weeks.
Wow. Congrats to you.
Thank you. I've been through all of those perspectives, and I remember for a long time early on in my period at the college, it was sort of like, you just don't take vacation. That's just not what we do. That's a ridiculously unhealthy experience. And because of COVID, I just like a lot of people, I haven't taken a ton of time off. And so my accrual actually got up above that 240 for the first time in a really long time. And I could tell, we're recording this on July 4th. It's going to release a little later in the year. I just took a couple of extra days around the holiday, and I feel so much better today. Being back at work, my perspective is different. I feel better. And my leadership philosophy on this has changed. When my team comes to me and says, I can't take time off, that's my problem. It's not their problem. Like, I need to work with them to say, okay, what's on your plate that we can take off or move to the side for right now? And who on your team can step up, and how can we support them and reward them? That's my job as much as it is their job to bring it forward and to say, I got to get out of here for a little while. So I think we've got to focus on those pieces.
Absolutely. And Kara, what I would add to that is that as leaders, we all serve in some form of leadership, regardless of what our role may be within the organization, is that it's so important to model that behavior for others.
Yeah.
Like you, I had the opportunity to take a few additional days around the Independence Day holiday, which was great, and such a great opportunity to relax and recharge and all those things. And like you, coming back today, sure, there's a little catch up, right? That's natural. There's always going to be a part of that. But, I also know that I have a strong team in place that, those day-to-day responsibilities were able to take place and occur. And the best thing we can do is really just plan ahead. Yeah. When we do want to schedule time off, work with your team, work with your supervisor, work with your departmental leadership, find, good days that they're going to work well for everyone, or a certain week that works well. And then just plan, there's certain things, are going to occur, and we can plan for those. And for those things that we maybe don't expect to occur, we will have a point person who can take on those responsibilities in our absence. So kudos to you. I'm glad you had a chance to enjoy some time off, and I know I really enjoyed my vacation as well.
Good. You mentioned that one of the reasons we made the changes to align our vacation policy to other higher ed institutions. Can you give just a little bit of a picture of it? We still have a very generous policy in comparison to our higher ed partners. Can you give a little more context to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Be glad to. So you're right. And that's one of the benefits of higher education, right? It's some of those benefits that come with the job. And time off is certainly one of those important benefits. So while we are making change to the rate of accrual for those eligible staff and admin faculty who have been employed for 2+ years, we still remain highly competitive when looking at our peers in terms of higher education peers throughout the state of Indiana. So I can tell you in terms of the initial rate of accrual, which is just over 17 days a year, we're right towards the top. And again, that's not going to change. So those who we recruit to the organization are going to have the opportunity to continue enjoying that great time off benefit. But, once they do hit that 2-year plus mark, even though that they're accruing at 20 days as opposed to 24, for one, I can tell you oftentimes it's far more generous than what you're going to see on the private sector. But even if they are coming from another institution of higher education where they're enjoying, generous time off benefit, 20 days per year, even at 2+, 5, 10, even 15 years, Kara, is still right towards the top when we compare ourselves to other institutions within the state of Indiana.
We still have an incredibly generous leave and benefits policy. And I had never thought of this question. Sarah Ferguson, our producer, actually writes these episode guides with help from our guests. And I thought this was a great question. So I'm glad she included it in there. Understanding that we get a payout on vacation time at the point of separation, is there an ability to contribute that payout to retirement plans?
So I'll take that one. There is the ability to increase your percentage of contribution in order to give more to your retirement plan. It's really important that you plan ahead. So you'll want to work with your local HR. You'll want to work with the Benefits and Leave Hub, and even probably get payroll involved as well, because it does take a little bit of planning and a little bit of time to make sure that contribution is increased in a timely manner. You will go into Transamerica's website to do that. And it does take a little bit of time for it to be transferred over to IvyTech and get updated in the system. So you can contribute up to 80%. So anywhere from 1 to 80% is what you can change that to. But yeah, just make sure if that's something you want to do, get with us well in advance and we'll make sure we help you through that process.
And Sarah, is that the same way, I think it is, that I just make contribution changes if I want to make them at any point during the year, is just logging into the website and increasing those percentages?
Yeah. And just to mention that, you can log in and increase that percentage at any time. Like I said, up to 80%. And there's even ways to set up automatic increases. So if you wanted to make sure you increase 1% every year, you can set that up in Transamerica's website as well.
And I think that's what I did. I think that's why I haven't looked at it in a while. I'm like, I don't remember how I did that, but I'm pretty sure I set it up to
Yeah, it's helpful.
every year. Good. So let's move from vacation time to our sick time policy. Can you give a general overview of sick time and our policies there and how it differs from vacation time?
Sick time is a benefit that is available to all full-time benefit eligible employees. So this includes faculty. And the rate of accrual is the same for all employee groups. It's 3.7 hours per pay period, which essentially comes out to 26 days per year. And you can accrue all the way up to 1,056 sick hours. And the reason is, in the unfortunate circumstance where maybe somebody has a need for a leave of absence, they're not always unfortunate. Sometimes we think of leave of absence for good reasons, right? We think of birth or adoption or things like that. But if somebody did need to take a leave of absence due to a serious health condition or maybe to care for a family member who was experiencing a serious health condition, it allows an employee to build up a significant amount of sick time so that when they take that family medical leave, they can do so under paid status. And really that's what sick time is for. It's for us to provide care for ourselves if we're not well. And keep in mind, oftentimes that we have the ability to work remotely. Sometimes it's still best to just take a sick day and to get well and to rest and to use that time so you maintain full pay status while you're taking a day or a couple of days to recover from some type of illness. Sick time can also be used if you need to attend a medical appointment or medical appointments within a given day, and we're going to take that time off to attend those appointments. It can also be used if we need to care for an immediate family member who's maybe under the weather, not feeling well, or to take that family member to medical appointments. So it's not intended to be used like vacation, where vacation is, more general, just, maybe we just want a few free days to do something else or have a trip planned or something like that. It's very specific to the well-being of ourselves and our immediate families.
I was able to use sick time as we were working through the situation with my mom just before she passed. And it was really just nice to know that I had that option there. So it's very, very, again, another really generous policy that the college has. When I have balances where of my sick time and my vacation time and my other leave times, we'll talk about other leave times in a minute, where can I find those balances?
So you can log into IvyTime and see the balances for each of those that you have remaining. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And do either of you anticipate at this moment any changes in the sick time policy?
There are no changes planned at this point in time, Kara. I'm not even aware of any conversations specific to changes specific to sick time. So at this point in time, I think it's safe to say that there are no anticipated changes or no changes that are currently underway.
Good. And I know, Mike, you said faculty do accrue sick time. They don't accrue vacation time, though. Can you talk a little bit about faculty release days? Because it's not vacation time, but it is a little bit of an opportunity for faculty to take a little time off during the active semester.
Absolutely. So generally speaking, we think about our faculty, those who are not administrative faculty, but just, a typical and normal faculty position, their time off typically aligns with the academic calendar, right? There's those breaks between semesters. There's spring break, fall break. So there is time off, but it aligns with when our students are off, right? For to ensure that we can maintain the best learning environment possible for our students. But there are 3 flexible days built in during a 9-month faculty contract. And that's what we call faculty release. And much like a staff or faculty would utilize vacation, it just takes a little planning. If you do have a need to use that faculty release, is touch base with your academic chair or your supervisor. Let them know that there's a certain day that you need to be off, and then you can, maintain that full pay status through faculty release. So it's 3 days for a 9-month agreement, and then it's up to 1 day for a full summer. Now, if the summer agreement is less than 100%, it may not be a full 8 hours faculty release. It may be prorated, 4, 6, 8, whatever it may be. But again, that provides some flexibility in the summer, during the summer contract as well, for a day that faculty member may need to have off. Now, again, that doesn't apply to sick. They still have their own sick time, and they're not well, or again, the family member is not well, or they have appointments. They can use their sick time for those absences, and they do not have to use faculty release for anything that's specific to sick time.
And I think we've been trying to emphasize all the way through COVID, and I think we don't want to lose the emphasis on this. If you're sick, stay home. That's always been important, but it's not something we've always really enforced in our culture. And I've been guilty of it before too. But if you're sick, stay home. So
great advice. We have to move on from trying to tough it out or what it may be. It's right. Just, we have the ability, we can still stay connected or connect if we need to. But I think it's great advice, Kara. If we're not feeling well, let's stay home and recover and get well and make sure we're not affecting others.
Absolutely. So my last question, I know we have some other types of time off. Can we talk just about what those other options for time off are?
Yeah, one of the other options is a volunteer and community engagement policy that was recently rolled out. So this is a really great option for our full-time benefits eligible employees to take up to 8 hours of paid time off every year to volunteer in their community where they live and work, and something that interests them. We encourage all of our employees to do that as well. So it's a great option for employees, and I hope we all take advantage of that this year.
I am, my goal with my new puppy, Kona, which a lot of people hear way more about than they care about, is actually to do volunteer work in schools and hospitals. So I look forward to using that benefit because it will almost always be during the workday. So I'm excited about that opportunity. We also get time off to vote, correct?
That's right. For voting, right? Paid time off, again, applies to benefit eligible employees. In policy, it explains up to an hour. I think we worked with supervisors and leadership last year and said, we know sometimes maybe it takes a little longer. Let's give employees flexibility. If it takes a couple hours, go out and vote, and let's ensure they can maintain that same benefit of having that time off and not having to use vacation or faculty release or things like that. And then if a person is selected for jury service, we have paid time off for jury service, again, where a full-time benefit eligible employee can maintain their current rate of pay, fill that important obligation. And then in the unfortunate circumstance, Kara, when a family member has passed away, the college offers bereavement time as well to assist that employee in working through that difficult time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to both of you for talking with me today and just going through all of that. I know, and we'll point folks to the Employee Handbook as we wrap up today. It is all outlined in there, but I think it's also just good to hear it sometimes and to go through that as well. So we do end every episode with a call to action. And so as we finish up today, we want to point you to the Employee Handbook that you can find on MyIvy. You can review your time off balances in IvyTime, as Sarah mentioned. And if you're able, make sure that you can schedule some time off to disconnect and recharge, because we all need it from time to time. And if you're sick, stay home if at all possible, and even take that full day off. Don't try to tough it out. Take a day off and get well. Thanks again for joining this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank today's panel, Mike McNichols, Vice President of Human Resources at Systems Office, and Sara Morris, Assistant Vice President of Employee Benefits and Experience at Systems Office. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNMTweets. Our producer is Sarah Ferguson. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Don't forget, if you're an Ivy Tech faculty or staff member, you can join our Microsoft Teams listener community. I send out instructions on that every Thursday. Our website, where you'll find links to our show notes, is ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode provided by Becky Campbell and the Ivy Tech Community College Creative Services team, and our podcast concept by Matthew Pittman. Theme music and post-production services provided by the amazingly talented Jen Eanes at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, and we will talk to you next time on Our College, Your Voices.